right, that is especially, for you. I mean, talking about the sound there is the curtain raiser for the program this morning on ITV. Yes, the program that has come to stay on your television, on independent television. One morning appetizer you may want to say that you wake up with in the morning, and of course you just go on with your day. My name is Evans Unukogie, and it is a network, a network program. I mean, we're talking about Benin Network Center, Lagos Network Center, and of course Abuja Network Center of independent television. And we are so prepared this morning to ensure that we give you all that you need to know. Most especially at, allegations are coming through now from Dangote himself, against Ahmed Farouk Lawal now, talking about the managing director of the Nigerian Midstream and the Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, NMDPROA, Engineer Farouk Ahmed. And, we're going to be following that discussion this morning as we go on the program this morning on ITV. Well, let me say Merry Christmas to you one more time. And of course, let me also say Iselugbe. I mean, from this ancient kingdom of Benin, whereby, as we speak now, the Ugie Festival has begun. That's the Ugie Festival of 2025 has begun. And we saw what happened yesterday at the palace, whereby the Oba of Benin, His Royal Majesty, Oba Iwai II, had to, come out with some chief and, perform the Ugieroba ceremony. Now, it snowballs into activities in the next couple of days, and you're going to be having lots of activities, and that culminates in the Ugie Festival. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that in case we are watching from Benin, and you hear that there is a festival going on in the ancient city of Benin, you should know that it is actually the Ugie Festival, the 2025 edition. It comes annually, year in, year out, and it's a good one to know that it's been on an age-long ceremony that you may want to see. Well, I'm not alone this morning. I've got my co-anchors. I have Dominic in Abuja, and also you get to see Lagos as we go on this morning. Dominic, a very good morning to you. It's been quite some time, Dominic, on this show. Good morning, Dominic.
Of course, good morning, Evans. It's quite a long time we anchored together. It's a beautiful Wednesday. The program this morning on my TV from Abuja Center, we're doing great. You just talked about the allegation. Well, we're still waiting for the president to respond to that, because the person who was alleged to the person that was alleged is a government employee, and we expect that now that the probe or the ICPC have received the request for probe, very soon we should be hearing either Farouk responding or the president calling him to order. But from our Abuja end, so much is expected from the nation's capital. This morning there was supposed to be a nationwide protest by the NLC. We understand that there was a meeting with the president and other stakeholders to avert that protest this morning. We're still waiting to see or to get confirmation from the NLC if that protest will take place, because after the closed-door meeting last night, no information yet on the strike, but from all indication, Labour said they want to protest the state of insecurity in the nation. That's, according to Joe Ajero, that the Nigerian workers are not, this is the worst surviving period of the Nigerian workers in the country. So they are calling on governments to see what they will do to tackle insecurity. So we are still putting our hands across to see if that protest would definitely hold. But as it stands now, there's no definite information from NRC after the meeting they had with the president last night. But that will not be our focus of discussion. We'll be looking at the medium-term expenditure framework, which was signed into law yesterday, giving way for the presentation of the budget by the executive as the president. That will take place probably between today, tomorrow, or Thursday. That's what the Senate president said yesterday. So we were expecting that the 2026 budget will be presented to the National Assembly. So we'll be looking at that from our Abuja end this morning. Evans.
All right, beautiful Dominic. And also have Mr. Leader in Lagos. Now, pretty lady, good morning to you. How is Lagos this morning?
Good morning, Evans. Good morning, Dominic. Lagos is pretty good. I mean, it's a good weather. And Christmas is by the corner. Merry Christmas to you all, you guys, in advance. Okay, we saw yesterday that Dangote has filed a petition against Farouk. According to Dominic, we're still waiting for Farouk to come out to speak. And a lot of speculations going up and down saying that, you are civil servants. Well, how would you have that kind of amount, to be sponsoring your children, your secondary school children abroad and all of that? And Dangote has an evidence, and he has filed a petition against Farouk. I mean, he said he's paying tax and he needs to know where his tax is going to. If you're paying tax, you should know where your tax is going to. So we're still waiting for Farouk's response to that. But from Lagos this morning, that would not be our main focus. Our main focus is we saw the Bunk Lodge yesterday, actually, and our President Bola Ahmed Tinubu said something. He said he pledged to sustain the legacy of former President Muhammadu Buhari. And a lot is in that book that you need to get, according to them. And, APC, of course, some APC supporter, welcomed the statement, while other opposition voices, said that they judged by economic relief, security outcome, living standards, saying you cannot be sustaining the legacy of Muhammadu Buhari. And we are going through all these things we are going through in Nigeria. So that is basically going to be our main focus today from Lagos.
Okay, beautiful. Now still on, what seems to be making a major headlines in our major newspapers this morning. The allegations, that Dangote has made against Ahmed Farouk. Now, we're also going to be discussing it from Benin Network Center this morning. I mean, some analysts have the opinion that for Dangote to have made such an allegation, then it shows that he has evidence, to make such an allegation. And only this morning we saw that Ahmed Farouk has responded. Now, I'll just quickly read out an excerpt from the response that he has given. And he said that I spent my favorite years in the technical divisions where decisions are measured not by political expediency, but by the engineering precision and market realities, he said. Now, the allegations are that the Ahmed Farouk now, spent some money recklessly, taking his children abroad, making sure that his school abroad and all that at the expense of petroleum, business and all that. Instead of paying attention to what he's supposed to do, but he paid more priority to his children and all that and all that. So you can Google so that you can get the details. But what we're really going to be talking about today is the allegations and, of course, the responses that has been given to the allegations. So we're going to be talking on that too from our Benin Network Center this morning as the program gets on. All right, so we'll take a short pause now so that the corporate trainer, Inuagata Sakai, will come your way on the program this morning. And I just wonder what the dude is going to be talking about now. I mean, now that Christmas is so close, let's stay by so that we watch the corporate trainer, Inuagata Sakai. Please stay tuned.
Inuagata no Sahai is still my amiable name, and I'm so delighted to come your way on this segment of the program. Now, under my series on psychological safety, this morning we are going to be focusing on 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety and practical steps to restore it. 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety and practical steps to restore it. Now, psychological safety is about creating a work environment where your team members or employees are not scared, they are not afraid, of bringing their errors to the table. They are not fear of contributing their ideas. They are not afraid of contributing their ideas. They are not afraid of bringing their errors to the table, because there are some work environments whereby employees are often shamed when they made mistakes. They are often embarrassed, when they made mistakes. They are also, they receive a psychological and emotional hit when they make mistakes or when they bring ideas to the table. That means that environment is psychologically unsafe. But psychological safety is about ensuring that employees are not afraid, to bring their ideas to the table for fear of being embarrassed. They are not afraid to admit mistakes for fear of being, shamed. They are not afraid, to also contribute their innovative and creative idea for the advancement of the system. Now, what psychological safety does for you is that it helps you as a leader to fully maximize the potential of your team members. Very important. And it is very, very important that as a leader, as a boss, you are sensitive to the fact that, to the signs of declining psychological safety in your workplace, in your team. And that is why this morning the topic is 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. If your team loses psychological safety, it means that you will not be able to tap into the expertise and know-how. You will not be able to tap into the potential of your people. 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. The first warning sign is fear of leaders. Fear of leaders. Now, this is not respect for leaders. This is not reverence for leaders. But it's a palpable tension that you see in the workplace or in the team whenever the boss steps in. All of a sudden, there is this abrupt silence whereby, you can literally just touch the sudden deafening silence in that kind of work environment. Because the leaders, the workers there, the team members there are afraid that, should they keep talking or should they make mistakes, the team leader is going to react in a way that will, negatively impact on their emotion, negatively impact on their psychology. So everybody always just keep quiet for that fear, whenever the leader is around. So you see a situation even during meetings, when the leader is talking, when the leader even make mistakes, those team members, even when they see that this comment, this perspective or this idea of the leader is seriously flawed, nobody points out the error, nobody points out the mistake, because they are afraid that, they may be shamed or embarrassed. So at the end of the day, we see a situation whereby, the system is not actually achieving its best. Now, when you see that your people are unnecessarily afraid of you, it could be traceable to a declining psychological safety. Very important. And you need to do something to see that the psychological safety is restored. Number 2, you also see a situation whereby another sign you notice in a team that is losing psychological safety is that mistakes are hidden instead of discussed. Mistakes are hidden instead of discussed. Now, there are many workplaces where employees who made sincere mistakes and they were open about this mistake, they were seriously shamed, they were embarrassed. Even some of them even had to lose some part of their salary. They receive unnecessary query. And because of this kind of culture in that work environment, they become afraid to open up when they make mistakes. So the next goal you just see that all these employees want to achieve whenever they make mistake is to hide it, is to cover it. And covering the mistakes is not in the best interest of you, the leader. It's not in the best interest of the organization, because such mistake may grow to a level whereby, the cost of it may be so overbearing, maybe too much for, the company or the organization. That is also a sign that your team or your organization is losing psychological safety. Very, very important. A situation whereby mistakes are hidden instead of being discussed. The third one is creativity and initiative decline. Creativity and initiative decline. Now, the absence of creative ideas and innovation in your team is not necessarily because your people lack these creative ideas. It's not necessarily because your people lack innovation. It could just be that there is no psychological safety for them to express these creative ideas and innovation. It is very important, you are conscious of this. You notice that the people are not coming up with ideas. You notice that they are not coming up with innovations. They are just there doing the regular routine. Like I said, it does not necessarily equate to they are not having these ideas or not having this innovation. It may just be that there is no safety, there is no emotional safety, there is no psychological safety for them to express this innovation and ideas. There are situations whereby some team members or some employees of organizations have come up with ideas that could improve on productivity, come up with ideas that could even reduce cost. And when they bring these things to the table, it is greeted with, discouraging response like, this is the way we have always done it. This is the way we work here. And at the end of the day, these employees just go back to their shells. And then they just continue to do what is spelled out on their job description, and everybody just keep quiet. So when you also notice that creativity and initiative decline in your organization, in your team, it could also be as a result of declining psychological safety. And it is important you are smart to see that it is restored. Then the last one, which is the fourth one, remember, we are looking at 4 warning signs your team is losing psychological safety. And the first one, I said fear of leaders. Second one, mistakes are hidden instead of being discussed. The third one, I said creativity and initiative decline. The fourth one, which is the concluding one, is high turnover or quiet quitting increase. High turnover or quiet, quitting increase. You see a situation whereby, as a result of lack of psychological safety, as a result of absence of psychological safety, some employees, despite the fact that you are paying juicy salary, they decide to just tender in their resignation letter. And when you look into their resignation letter, the reason they often give is personal reasons. Personal reasons. And that may just be a coded way of saying that your environment is not psychologically safe. I want to go to a place where I can better express myself and bring my A game to the table. Then you also see a situation whereby, because of economic reasons, there are some employees that may not leave. They remain there, but they are emotionally disengaged from the work. They are not passionate about the work. They are not bringing their best. They just do the regular routine. They don't go the extra mile. They don't go far and beyond. They just do what is expected of them. No creativity, no innovation. They are there and just tolerating the lack of psychological safety in that environment because of the salary. They have not gotten a better offer. But if competitors just dangled a little better offer compared to what they are earning from you, in front of their eyes, in front of them, the next thing is that they are tendering their resignation letter. And that kind of situation is quiet quitting. Quiet quitting. They are just there, tolerating what is happening, just coping, and at the end of the day, should they just see a better offer from anywhere, they leave you. And when you look at this, it is also traceable to a declining psychological safety. That is why it is very important as an employer, as a boss, as a CEO, you are smart. You are smart to see that when all these things are happening, they are likely traceable to lack of psychological safety, and you be smart enough to see that you do something about them, to see that psychological safety is restored. Now, next week, we are going to be looking at how to see that you restore declining psychological safety. That is going to be my area of focus next week, Wednesday. Today, I looked at 4 winning signs your team is losing psychological safety. But next week, we are going to see how you can restore this declining psychological safety back to your team. And, just stay with me, and you just continue to get value, premium value for that matter. At the end of the day, you build a better workplace for yourself, a better company and a better business, better organization, NGO for yourself, and then, moving from point A to B and, just attaining your next level of growth. I believe that premium value have been added to you today. My Email is always on the screen for you to connect with me, forward your questions, forward your inquiries, and then I provide answers straight to you. Yes, that's the email right there on the screen, inuarata@gmail.com. Just forward your questions, forward your inquiries, and then we are able to, build a better workplace, a better team with psychological safety for ourselves, and then build a better country and a better world for ourselves as well. I'll be seeing you next week, Wednesday. And when I return, I will still be the amiable Inuarata No Sahai. Your day is so blessed. Thank you.
Many thanks for staying with us. This beautiful morning, we would be reviewing the newspaper. And I guess this morning, that would be helping us reviewing the newspaper is Dr. Victor Ohai. Hello, Dr. Victor, good morning.
Good morning. How are you today?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, this morning from Lagos, The first paper we would be revealing is the Vanguard newspaper. The big headline on the Vanguard newspaper this morning says, "Workers facing worst survival crisis in Nigeria's history, NLC." You get that on page 5 from the Vanguard newspaper. And a writer says citizen being crushed by inflation, insecurity, poor wages. Another one says Nigerians now spend 80% of income on food. You get that on page 5 from the Vanguard newspaper. Okay, another headline says CBN revokes licenses of ASO Savings Union Homes. You get that on page 19. Nigerians 80% unemployed rates indictments on leadership. Peter Obi, you get that on page 8 on the Vanguard newspaper. NBA, please disagree over tinted glass permits enforcement. You get that on page 7. Another headline says Falani to AGF. Rearrest 10 soldiers, arraign 400 terror sponsors. You get that on page 6 from the Vanguard paper. PDP ADC differ with AGF over Supreme Court ruling. You get that on page. The cable made Buhari lock his room against me, Aisha. You get that on page 9 from the Vanguard newspaper. Dr. Victor Ohai, let's take a look at the big headlines there that says workers facing worst survival crisis in Nigerians' history, NLC. What do you have to say about that?
Well, it's not difficult to understand why, because salaries and wages have not increased in a very long time, in spite of the so-called 70,000. If you dollarize it, because most of what we use in this country is, you know, and even those that are produced locally, the component parts and raw materials are imported as well. So they're dollarized. So you want to ask yourself, 35,000 naira, which was minimum wage in the past, and it was about 300 and something naira, or at a point 150. You know, and today it has gone, the dollar is almost 1,500, that is times 10. It therefore means that even your so-called 70,000 minimum wage is like if you were earning, I mean, what it means, simply if you dollarize it now, you just find that what you have is like nothing really. So let's look at it. Say even at 35,000, which is half of 70,000, the dollar was, let's say, 500. Now at 70,000, which is so at 35, that's say call it 100. Let's call that $100.
Okay.
Now at 70, what you are now earning is $50. So I mean, and nothing is getting cheaper. The cost of living is rising. So you are living with, in fact, less. I just use that hypothetically, but we are earning far, far, far less than we were earning 10 years ago. You know, how do we survive? This is probably the worst time to be a Nigerian worker. But again, we are
probably
resilient.
the worst time to be a Nigerian worker.
Yes, a Nigerian in general living in Nigeria, to be honest.
Okay, moving on the newspaper review this morning, we'll look at this day newspaper. The big headline on this day newspaper says $7 million school fees. ICPC set to probe NMDPRACO after Dangote's petition. You get that on page 10 from this day newspaper. And sub-writer says, Ahmed allegations wild and spurious, welcomes formal inquiry. Okay, another writer says, House investigates claims. All right, still on this day newspaper, Transcorp Hotels names Awale Elumelu as board chair, effective from January 1st. You get that on page 10 from this day newspaper. Trump adds Nigerian to travel restriction list, expand number to 39. You get that on page 27 from this day newspaper. Senate endorses $60 oil benchmark. Crude oil falls to $59 per barrel. You get that on this day newspaper. APC Okay, you get that on this day newspaper. Lawmakers approve 54.46 trillion naira 2026 spending plan. PEG oil outputs at 1.84 mbpd ratify 1,512 naira per exchange rate projection. Also, you get that on this day newspaper. Dr. Victor Ohai, let's look at this $7 million school fees, $7 million school fees ICPC set to probe NMDPRACO Farouk after Dangote's petition. What would you have to say about that? Because, I mean, it's currently trending. If
it is true, it is probably going to be one of the biggest scandals in recent times. And I say so because I'm looking at this one comes from Sokoto State, and I remember Dangote saying, in a place where you come from a state where people can hardly pay school fees of 10,000 naira.
Yeah.
Now, what is $5 million? Now, it says 7 here, yes, although 7. What we've been hearing is 5. Let me assume 5.
Okay.
If you dollarize that, that would be about almost 7.5 billion naira. Now, let me give you an idea of what 1 billion naira means. At the rate of 50,000 naira every day, you will need 50 and about 9 months to finish 1 billion naira. At the rate of 50,000 naira every day, you wake up, you spend 50,000 naira. It will last you for 4 years and about 9 months. Now, somebody is spending about 7.5, or if you add this 1 million, it's 10 million rather, about 10 million. If it's indeed $7 million, you are spending that for 4 children. When there are so many children in the north, it is scandalous and it is worth investigating. I listened, he has replied.
Yeah, he has.
And in his reply, he was saying, I mean, he made a big deal out of saying what he makes is about 48 million naira. What is 48 million naira in even 1 billion? Even if he earns, what do you call it now, 100 million per annum, you cannot, because your lifestyle goes with how much you earn, so we'll have to wait and see. He has a lot of explaining to do. He has to tell us where all that money is coming from.
He has a lot of explaining to do. I mean, according to Dangote, I'm paying my tax, so I need to know where my taxes are going.
I agree with him.
Okay, moving on to the Guardian newspaper. The big headline on the Guardian newspaper says, anxiety, mistrust cloud Nigerians tax reform promises benefits. You get that on page 6 from the Guardian newspaper. Another headline says, NHRC laments 422,942 abductions, sexual violence, others in November. You get that on page 5 from the Guardian newspaper. Another headline there says, NBA kicks against tinted glass enforcement, warns against extortion. You get that on page 30 on the Guardian newspaper. Let's talk about Dr. Victor Ohai. Let's talk about anxiety, the big headline there that says, anxiety, mistrust cloud Nigeria's tax reform promises the benefits. It's on page 6. What would you have to say about the all tax reform promises?
So right now, it's still not very clear. I mean, we've had all sorts of explanations. It's out there, different people have come to explain what it means. Until we begin to see implementation, it's going to be very difficult to say how it's going to, if you like, pan out. There have been allegations that you might be taxed at source. I think I heard it from the mouth of one of the tax chiefs, and I heard somebody else say no, that they cannot go to your bank and take money and all that. But we'll have to wait and see. The truth is, when they say the poor will not be taxed, it's not a big deal, because even the poor hardly even pay taxes in the past. So, and like they always say, you can't tax your way out of poverty. We need to be able to create more opportunities for people to earn money and save money, and then when you create jobs, which is, I think, for me, the most important thing, payee tax is even, that's one place where you don't even need to stress. You can get, when you create jobs, you deduct that at source because you work and you know your salary, I mean taxes get taken away from you and all that. You know, so you enlarge the tax. We'll see how it comes out. It's still cagey right now. We'll see how it turns out.
So let's wait to see.
Let's see, yes.
All right. Moving on the paper's review this morning, let's look at the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. The headline there says, 2026 Senate cuts crude oil benchmark to $60 passes MTEF. You get that on page 17 on the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. NLC to hold protests over rising insecurity today. You get that on page 2 on the newspaper. Another headline there says, NBA slams police over tinted glass permits enforcement. You get that on page 13 from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Tax Act. Dino Melani threatens to sue NAS over VAT provisions. You get that on page 5. Another headline says, 2027 PDP relies ex-governance, ex-ministers. You get that on page 5. Also, AI now decodes sweat for early signs of disease. You get that on page 13 from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. How mafia relative held Buhari captive, manipulated him. You get that on page 3. And the writer says, for 8 years, he had wrong people in right places. Aisha explains. You get that on page 3 from the Nigerian Tribune newspaper. Let's talk about NBA slams police over tinted glass permit enforcement. Let's quickly talk about that.
Well, the thing is this, you know, Nigerian police are above the law. No matter what you think, you know, in the execution of your job, you're still not above the law. You are to execute what the law says, not create your own interpretation. And that's why you find extrajudicial methods that they deploy or employ. You know, if it's illegal, it's illegal. And that's what they're doing. If they say, no matter how much you say you suspect, if the law says that, I mean, tinted glass is not, by itself, is not an offense. Many vehicles come, you know, with tinted glass. Some people choose to do it. If you have any problem with any car, you stop the car, wind down, look at the occupants inside. That's okay. But to arrest them for tinted glass when it is no longer an offense, you know, or you begin to harass people and say, why are you using tinted glass? That's not so cool. That's not right at all.
Okay.
And, you know, that's a problem we keep having with the police.
All right, thank you very much for that. Moving on, the Nature News. The Nature News, the big headlines there says, Sterling Bank Group empowers journalists as media leaders as ethics, AI sustainability. You get that on page 3 on the Nature. Another headline there says, BUA rewards 510 staff with 30 billion naira at Excellence Awards. You get that on page 5 from the Nature News this morning. NADF empower 2,000 Sokoto onion farmers to tackle post-harvest losses. Also, you get that on page 5 from the Nature News. Another headline there says, Bayelsa bans illegal mining, warns communities against signing moors. You get that on page 6 from the Nature newspaper. South African Scarpers wins playoff to post first tour victory. You get that on page 20 from the Nature newspaper this morning. CARE program names 4 Canadian scholars for 2025 cohorts. You get that on page 6 from the Nature newspaper this morning. Dr. Victor Ohai, let's talk about this. You know, it's caught my attention. You know, this headline that says BUA rewards 510 staff with 30 billion naira at Excellent Awards.
That's unprecedented. It is unprecedented. It's, to the best of my knowledge, it's never happened. Not even the federal government. That's a lot of money. And I think that's a reward for loyalty, but it's very good that, I mean, this is like receiving your reward on earth, so to say. They're not waiting for retirement before getting their reward. And it should reinforce the loyalty of the staff. He has a lot of competition, you know, and it means that these are people who are him, and he's rewarding them, and it's a good one, especially in the times that we're living in right now.
All right, thank you very much. Moving on to the Daily Sun newspaper, the big headline on the Daily Sun newspaper says, "Cabal almost killed my husband, Aisha Buhari." You get that on page 6. A writer says, "They planted bugs, sabotage Mills, reveals ex-president thought she was after his life." You get that on page 6 from the newspaper. Insecurity, no going back on nationwide protest, NLC. You get that on page 8. Nigerians workers facing worst survivor crisis in history, Ajaro. You get that on page 8 from the Daily Sun newspaper. Okay, U.S. Embassy warns Nigerians against visa fraud, threatening permanent ban. You get that on page 26 on the Daily Sun newspaper. NBA faults police on tinted glasses. Okay, we've talked about that before. Peter Obi, 80 million unemployed youth, colossal leadership failure. You get that on page 27. Let's talk about the NLC, insecurity, no going back on nationwide protests. That said, no going back. Let's just briefly talk about that.
Well, maybe the NLC is getting its mojo back again, because at the end of the day, workers are at the receiving end of what's going on, both in terms of security, in terms of costs of living and all of that. So it used to be the voice of the people. It was leading the, if you like, civil society and all that. So we'll have to wait and see if it's, I hate to say this, but sometimes maybe things have been boring and they want to do negotiation with government, you know. So I hope if they follow through the
Omonoba Nedu Ukwakolopolo, Ewai II, Oba of Benin, stepped out majestically with loud crowd to perform the Soto rites of his late mother, Queen Mother Ioba Omoni Ikoyeme, Ioba Ewai II, who departed this world 49 years ago. Isoton is a traditional rite of the procession in memory of the departed person's spirit in Benin Kingdom. It is usually heralded by public display of the departed person's influence during their sojourn on earth. The display of a human effigy symbolizing the departed royal matriarch was preceded by the Oba of Benin, who led the procession from his palace to the Immortal Shrine at King Square in Benin City, where he offered prayers for the repose of the soul of the Queen Mother, Ioba Ewai II. Thereafter, the priest assigned to the Immortal Shrine offered Oba Ewai II items for Isoton on behalf of his family. However, chalk, known as Uri, represented a mixture from royal fans after ancestral spirits were invoked to bear witness and announce his arrival. On his way home, Oba Ewai paid tributes at various pilgrimage sites, including Queen Idia Tomb, beside Oba Market, where a cheerful crowd of traders abandoned their wares to catch a glimpse of the royal personage and join in the celebration.
Much for your time and for your patience on the program this morning on ITV. Yes, a while ago I said that we're going to be following the discussions and the counter reactions too that has thrilled the accusations coming from the chairman of Dangote Refineries, talking about the person of Dangote himself, making allegations against the chief executive officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, you know, and all that. So we're going to be following that discussion. But quickly, let us look at what seems to be very, very, you know, what people are noticing now. I'm talking about the reduction of the fuel, the pump price of fuel. That's PMS now. That's the Premium Motor Spirit in Benin and in parts of Nigeria. Well, some will say that it is not coming as a surprise because Dangote has hinted that the price of pump price has been reduced to about 600 and something naira per liter. So that seems to have necessitated the gradual reduction of the pump price that we are noticing in our filling stations, you know, as it stands now. Well, joining us this morning via Zoom virtually from Benin is the chairman of IPMAN. IPMAN stands for Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Benin branch. We're talking about Mr. Godwin Iyorama, who is the chairman of IPMAN, Benin Depot. Mr. Godwin, nice to have you on the program this morning. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, Evans.
Okay. All right, so quickly help us throw light on what we are noticing now. I mean, talking about the reduction of pump price in filling stations across Benin City. I mean, just yesterday I bought fuel for the second time, about 810 naira, as against the 910 naira that it was sometime last week. So what is really responsible for this?
First, we have to look at so many factors that are responsible. The first thing you have to look at the price of crude oil. It's been hovering between 55 to 62 thereabouts over the past 2 or 3 weeks. So the price of crude, which is the main product from which the petroleum products are derived from, is a bit low. Then number two, you have to look at the policy in place in our country, in Nigeria. You know that we have the sector of the downstream sector has been deregulated. What that means is that you can sell at any price which you wish to sell it, and all commerce can participate in it. So the players in the field now, as we speak, you have the local refiners, which is partly represented by Dangote, and we have the importers, which we have other major players in the field coming in with their respective products. So if the landing cost, let me first of all define the idea of the price. You hear terms like S-depot price, gantry price, and pump price. So if you're talking about S-depot price, is the amount you pay when you go and buy from the depot. Gantry, the same thing from the refinery, but that does not involve delivery to your station. So if Dangote is saying, because most of our consumers or the marketers are saying the price of petrol now is now, let's say, 699, which is the present news that everybody is saying. They come to your station and say, petrol is now 700 naira. Why are you selling at 810? No, that is the amount you pay to the depot owners, S-depot price, or gantry price to the refiners. It does not involve your transporting it to your station. So the pump price is different from, that is the amount you see on the display in your machine. That is the pump price. That is what customers should be, or consumers should be particular about. So the factors responsible is that the price of crude has been relatively low, and the landing cost of imported petrol is down. They are beating the price for which our local refiners are also offering. I would like to chip in that the local refiners price is the policy in place has been able to put so many competitors in the field. So there's a healthy competition between, if the local refiner is putting the price so high, the importers will bring it down. If the importer's price is relatively high, the local refiner will bring it down. So we have healthy competition in the sector as we speak now.
As we are trying to expand this discussion this morning, a few days ago, on Monday to be precise, I had you on our radio program Impact in the afternoon, and we're also looking at what we are noticing now, because it seems that seems to be the recurring decimal. We have a situation whereby the regulatory authority gives a price of per liter price, And of course, it takes almost an entirety, before marketers begins to respond. Now, what is, unlike, if you just oppose the situation, if the price of per liter has been increased, then automatically your marketers now would have automatically increased the price. But this time now, we are noticing a downward movement of the price, and it's taking a longer time for marketers to respond. Are you aware of this?
Yes, I am aware of it. But first, you have to look at the economics of the product. In the last time I talked about this issue, I told you about the risk which we bear. I'm in the retailer section. My members, we are in the retailer section. We are subject to the vagaries of the price control, where today you buy a product, tomorrow the price is down or the price is up, and without prior notice. So that has, to some extent, is affecting us a lot. If you look at, supposing just last week Friday was when the price was brought down by Dangote to 699. That's ex-gantry price, not pump price. So assuming somebody bought 45,000 liters on Monday, that's about a few days before the price was brought down at a higher price. Maybe it came to a station at about, say, 850 naira. And you are now telling him to come and sell at 750. Plus or minus 100 naira per liter gone. That is 4.5 million loss. How? No insurance. Nobody is going to give him a value. As we speak now, some of our marketers are operating at a loss. The same thing goes for these depot owners who have imported petroleum before the crashing of petroleum by Dangote. So some of them will have to sell at a loss. So what they do is that they try to manage the damage that is being done, the loss that they will incur, by trying to sell as much as possible to other marketers, to the real product. That is to say, if you announce it today, say Friday, and when you make an announcement of a price reduction, it does not automatically come in, because if the price effect takes effect as from, say, Monday, marketers have to pay in, they have to start loading the new product. But if they have to sell their old product at the same cost of the new price, it means they will lose so much money. And the value of what they have on ground is now lower. So it is better for them to manage the damage they are going to incur by gradually reducing the price, because nobody pays them on insurance, nobody gives them any funding back. So when they now buy the new product, they will use that to augment, which takes time, at least a minimum period of at least 4 or 5 days, because you pay in, you have to load from the refinery to bring in the new product.
Okay. All right.
Do you understand the dynamics? So that's why it takes a little bit of time for our marketers to reduce the price to the new price.
Okay. All right. Now, Mr. Ewama, you notice that this period of the year, I mean, naturally, you are going to be having more of demand of PMS. I mean, a lot of persons traveling into the metropole. That's what is happening in Benin City right now, and perhaps other cities in the country. So the demand for fuel will naturally increase. Now, what is the guarantee that we're going to have the required amounts, that, in other words, that the product is not going to be scarce? Because I'm saying this from the backdrop of previous experience, from nowhere the product becomes scarce. That's one question. Then secondly, we still have different types of fuel in our filling stations. You have the one that comes with a light, color, liquid substance. There's also the one that comes with a pinkish color, liquid substance. So consumers are worried. I mean, why can't we have that just one? Because I mean, from the layman's way of looking at it, the fuel that most of us grew up to meet is the pinkish color. So why these, variant types of fuel that we have in our filling stations?
The first question, you said maybe there could be scarcity. First, the issue of scarcity, I think, has been laid to rest. Kudos to our president, Senator Bola Ahmed Tinubu, who has been able to enforce this deregulation policy. He kept the door of importation open, or to ensure that the local refiners like Dangote is if there's any hitch in his production, like maybe he's doing turnaround maintenance or whatever, then the importers can bring in products and augment for it. Then if the price from the importers are relatively high and the local refiner is in order, then that one can supplement the system. So we are covered from two sections. We have importers bringing in products. We have our local refiners doing a great job. Remember, Dangote Refinery, 650,000 per day, barrels per day refining capacity. So it can more than, if I'm not mistaken, meet more than 70% or 50% thereabout of our local demand. So both sides, we are covered. We don't have any hitch of, we have enough supply. Retailers have never had it so good. The issue of products not available is a thing of the past. I don't see that coming in again. For if the temple is maintained, there's a clause there, which I love. The policy has been able to cushion the effect of making importation very easy by ensuring that we don't have is it dual or triple exchange rate like it used to be? CBN will have one, black market will have one, the banks will have one. This time around, you have uniform exchange rate. You can go into the bank, take your money, go and import if you feel that you can beat the price being offered by the local refiner. So, the essence of forex being scarce is no longer there because you have uniform exchange rate and you can plan because you know how much it is going to land with. And that is for the people, the importers. It created an enabling environment for importers. Then for the local refiners, he also created an enabling environment for them. Look at Dangote, it's been given crude in local currency. That is a very big step forward in encouraging them to ensure that the production tempo remains constant. So availability of products is assured. I can guarantee that there won't be scarcity, no matter the demand. And Dangote is even expanding. By next year, according to him, he's going to be doing above what he's doing now. He's working ahead. So, and we also have more refineries coming up. We have one coming up in Ondo State. This Boa refinery. That one is 500,000 barrels per day refinery when it comes upstream. The only hitch I am looking at there is that which the president, I will use this medium to appeal, needs to work on is that the idea of our local refiners sourcing for crude from abroad is not a welcome development. They need to grow our local production of the barrels we produce per day from this current 1.5 to at least 3 million barrels per day, so as to be able to meet up with our local crude demand. Then you now talked about the quality of the products that we have. So when you have all comers playing in the field, the product is sourced from respective positions. You have people importing from Europe, you have people importing from US, people importing from Asia. They import from everywhere. As long as the price that they can bring is the landing cost is they can market it in Nigeria. So products are coming in from different places. And you also have our local refiner, Dangote, producing. If you ask me, I'm not trying to market him, but you should understand, nobody they say, well, mama soup no sweet. For this first time in history, I can guarantee you that made in Nigerian goods is the best now. Dangote product is one of the best. If he can export jet fuel to US as we speak, Dangote exports jet fuel to US. So that shows you that it is meeting up to international standards. The product that is coming out from Dangote refinery is of international standard. Its petroleum product is by far better than most of the products that are being imported or sourced from all other sources outside the country. But that falls under the purview of NIMTRA. The regulatory agency should ensure that any product that comes in is not substandard. They have to ensure that.
That's okay. Now we'll just quickly take a short pause at this moment, and when we return, we're still going to go over to Dangote. But this time, we're not going to be talking about the fuel he has been refining, and of course how he has been making fuel available for Nigerians, and also reducing the pump price of fuel. But this time, we're going to be talking about the allegation that he has placed against the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's the NMDPRA, in the person of Farouk Ahmed. Now, we understand that the allegations seems to have expanded now, and is already generating reactions and counter-reactions. And also, Ahmed Farouk responded this morning on one of the national dailies. When we return, we're going to be talking about all this after this short time. Please stay tuned. All right, so good to have you joined us. The program is still on your television, independent television. And our focus this morning is looking at the reduction in pump price of PMS in Benin and other major cities in the country. And amidst the allegations coming from the Chief Executive Officer of Dangote Refineries, now in the person of Dangote himself, against the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, that's NMDPRA, in the person of Farouk Ahmed. Now, we understand that the allegations now have been expanded because additionally, Mr. Dangote alleged that Mr. Ahmed spent $2,000 billion on tertiary education for 4 years for his 4 children, and also another $210,000 was spent on Faisal 2025 Harvard MBA. Now, the story, developing story, is that President and Chief Executive Officer of Dangote Industries Limited, Aliko Dangote, has expanded allegations against the Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, Farouk Ahmed, accusing him of spending millions of dollars on his children's foreign education. And the information came through when Dangote made the accusation on Sunday that Mr. Ahmed of economic, he made allegations against Ahmed Farouk of economic sabotage, which he said is undermining domestic refining in the country. And also too, Dangote Petroleum Refinery was also affected too, that he accused the leadership of the NMDPRA of colluding with international traders and oil importers to frustrate local refining through the continued issuance of import licenses for petroleum products. Mr. Dangote claimed that Mr. Ahmed was living beyond his legitimate means, claiming that 4 of his children attended secondary schools in Switzerland at the cost of running into several millions of dollars. And he said that such expenditure raised serious questions about potential conflicts of interest and the integrity of regulatory oversight in the downstream petroleum sector. Now, what all this boils down to is that Dangote is accusing Ahmed Farouk that he was taking money for granting, to grant license to importers of petroleum products, most especially fuel in the country. So that's just the basis of it all. Now, Mr. Godwin Ewohama, how do you react to this developing story? I mean, it's taking waves in the country. What is your reaction? What are your concerns?
My source of income is from the petroleum industry. As you can see, I'm the man chairman, the #1 citizen here. So, in the retail industry. So, definitely I should be concerned about these developments. First, I want you to understand that the chief executive of Dangote Refinery, Alhaji Aliko Dangote, knows the consequences of his accusations. He knows what are the consequences. So he's not a baby or in the trying to put up allegations. He knows whatever the consequences that will come from it. And on the other side, Engineer Farouk is well educated. He should be able to seek redress from any place if he feels that he's aggrieved. We should not cry more than the bereaved. He knows what to do. He's an engineer. He knows how to seek redress. That's the beauty of democracy. So he has to fight his own cause. But what I want to look at is you should not forget that he's been accused of issuing, what do you call it, import licenses, which Dangote has been trying to take the federal government to court for, that we should stop importation of petroleum, that he can meet up to local demand. He tends to forget that these refineries they are man-made. They are subject to hitches, 1 or 2. It could be short of crude. There could be turnaround maintenance, and the demand is growing in Nigeria. It's relatively high, so we cannot definitely rely on one source. That is why Mr. President, remember, Mr. President is the Minister for Petroleum Resources. Is in that position. Is the one that oversees the buck stops at his table. Remember that. People tend to forget. We are looking at NIBDRA. NIBDRA is just a regulatory agency. The buck stops at his table. Dangote has continuously taken the federal government to court to stop importation of fuel that he can meet up the demand. But the president, in his in his own wisdom, believes that he has to have a backup. So that is why he's allowing people to still import petroleum products. So, which is a welcome development, but with a provision, which he did recently, that if they are trying to bring in substandard products, which the NIBDRA, the regulatory agency, ought to take care of, and if their products are trying to sabotage the locally refined products, it will impose tariff on them so as to protect our local refiners, which I very much welcome. I remember in the last time I was on this program, I give kudos to the president for introducing that tariff, although a lot of people shouted against it. But here, because he has to protect the local refiners. So the concept of NIBDRA is the sole person that is causing the hitch of importing, issuing what have you, import license. I think without the presidential approval to that effect, it cannot say true. So that should lay that to rest. The only point I want us to look at here, one of the points that I know that Aliko Dangote is trying to guide against. You know that in their regulatory capacity, NIBDRA follows you from planning, execution, issuance of license to dispensing. They are our police. If you want to build, they must give you approval. If you finish construction, they will come and inspect and give you license too. They can as well revoke your license if necessary, if you are not meeting up to demand. These are because of concerns about environment. You know that petroleum is a very volatile product. So they have been doing their job so far. But Dangote made a point, which I think is very important. The point is that NNPC, who is also a trader, mark you, NNPC has retail outlets as well, who is also a trader, cannot be a regulator in the industry. You understand? NNPC has retail outlets, they cannot as well be a regulator. Remember that NIBDRA is a division of NNPC. So there is the possibility that if the integrity of NIBDRA is compromised, they can use it one way or the other to sort of, how do I say it, have an edge over other players in the industry because they are the police of the system, which is, I would appeal that our president, because of the Petroleum Industry Act is evolving. Since it is evolving in the implementation, this area should be looked into. They should look into this issue of NNPC being a trader and as well as a regulator through NIBDRA. They should see how they can balance it up so that when the integrity of NIBDRA is compromised, it will not affect other players, just like Dangote is shouting now. Because he feels that somehow, one way or the other, the integrity of the boss, Engineer Farouk, is being compromised. That is what he's alleging. Hence, all this noise that is happening there. So the president, in his own wisdom, in the future, should look at how they can balance that act, where NNPC, being a regulator, cannot also be a trader in the system, because they can push the system to their own favor.
All right, now quickly, as we wrap up now, I just want you to quickly say this, perhaps in 30 seconds. Looking at Farouk's reaction to the allegations, and his reaction suggests that why these allegations now? And that seems to be one talking point that most Nigerians are also looking at, asking the question, how come Dangote is making the allegations now? Do you think, in your own way of looking at it, that these allegations are ill-timed? They ought to have been made before now.
Well, I don't think the allegations is ill-timed, because before you allege, you must have your facts. Maybe this is when he has his own facts. That is when he knows he can defend himself. If Engineer Farouk decides to sue Dangote, which I know he will be richer for it. He can ask for $2 billion because for Libya, you follow what I'm saying? You cannot just allege when you know you cannot defend it. So maybe this is the time he knows that if he comes up with it, he can defend it. So I don't, like I said, I don't want to cry more than the bereaved. Engineer Farouk knows what to do. He can as well defend himself. So let us wait and see how the game plays out. We are all watching, both how
Okay.
the system reacts to it, and what I mean the system, the presidency, the regulatory agency, that is the financial regulatory agency, ICPC, EFCC, or what have you, how they regulate, they respond to it. We are all watching. We will see how it plays out.
So the story is still developing, so you can rest assured that independent television and radio will ensure that we keep a tab on the issue so that we give you updates as these allegations go through. I want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Godwin Iheogama, for finding time to come to be with us this morning, despite your very tight schedule. And please, I want to plead on behalf of a lot of Nigerians this morning that you should please make fuel available for this Yuletide period.
That is guaranteed. That is, I can give you 100% guarantee that fuel will be fuel is 100% available. And I want to use this opportunity to wish all our numerous customers a fruitful and prosperous Xmas and New Year in advance. They should be rest assured that the product is going to be available and all through the period and beyond, because Dangote is going to produce more. And once again, buy Dangote, buy Nigeria. That will not only keep jobs on the table, it is the best fare for now. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much. So we'll draw the curtain here now on our Benin Network Center so that we can go over to Dominic in Abuja and follow his discussions too. Please stay tuned.
All right, you're still watching the program this morning on ITV, and now it's time for us to look at other issues away from the oil and gas or petroleum. As you have Evans over there talking about availability of the product during the Yuletide season. Before now, we used to have panic buy, and sometimes you seem to have difficulties getting the product, but it's good enough that for some years now we have stable petroleum product during the Yuletide period. But like I said, we're not looking at that now from our Abuja end. We're talking education. One of the issues that was raised there is having children study abroad. It's not a crime. If you have the means to send your kids or your wards abroad to study, you can do that. Not with stolen words or alleged stolen words. There are genuine ways to do this, legitimate ways for you to have your kids study abroad. And we have some group of persons already in the studio already. One person is joining us very soon, if time permits, and then we have a client's education or relationship manager is in the studio this morning to tell us more about what they have for Nigerians planning to study excuse me, abroad. Sincere apologies for that break. Now I have Victor Ayodele Gabriel is the client's relationship manager, Score Covers Education. He's here in the studio to talk about studying abroad with us this morning. Very good morning to you.
Good morning, sir.
Okay, let's hear from you. What do you have for us? What are your packages?
Okay, so this morning I'm specifically talking about Shaminak High School. Is also like a preparatory pathway. The essence of this particular one is for those who want to go to A-list universities. You know, there are some people who have it in mind to go to Harvard University, to go to MIT. These are some of the A-list universities that we have in the United States. Like they're the top 10, top 20 universities. So there are some very good opportunities that we have for people like that. And that's one of the opportunities we want to talk about today. So the two things we're speaking about are ways for people to get easy access to the United States, despite the visa restrictions and despite the limitation of having access to some of these very rated schools in the U.S.
Yes, I was coming to that because this morning we saw Nigeria was listed among countries that have been restricted, partially restricted visa entry into the U.S. So how easy it is for Nigerians now going through your platform to get these admissions?
Okay, so I think it's easy because we pass people through the processes that are not the regular ones.
Okay.
It's easier to get denied when what you're doing is what everybody's doing. Yeah, so pathways like Chaminade, it's supposed to be a preparatory school. So after you're done with college, it's like 1 year as a transitionary phase from high school to the university. So that period of time, it is easier for you to use that pathway to get out of Nigeria than to use the regular admission pathway, because we have, I think there are some years where we have over 300,000 Nigerians that are applying for the F1 visa category, which means the denial rate is going to be high. In fact, averagely, there's about a 75% denial rate, which means only about 25% eventually get to have access to the US.
Go ahead.
Yes, so for the Chaminade and the UPI pathways that we have, they are easy alternatives. These are not the regular pathways that people utilize, and so the acceptance in those pathways are often higher. Yeah, the more people utilize the pathway, the easier it is for them to reduce the amount of people that they can take on a yearly basis.
Okay, let's get to what we're talking about the Chaminade High School now, right?
Yes.
We have someone also who is speaking through a pre-recorded interview. Let's listen to him, and then we'll get back to you for the continuation in the studio.
Good morning. My name is Mark Baczynski, and I'm the Director of Boarding Admissions at Chaminade College Preparatory School, located in St. Louis, Missouri. Chaminade is a school for young men in grades 6 through 12 that prepares them to be successful in college and life. Yes, that's a great question. There are many opportunities offered to our Nigerian students and families. Actually, all of our students and families, no matter where you are, from all over the world. But I'd like to start by saying that Chaminade was founded by the Marianist as a Catholic school for young men in grades 6 through 12. This means that every day on campus, our students are learning Esto Vir, which is our school motto, and it means to be a man. That's the literal meaning, but to us it means be the best man you can be, or be the man the world needs you to be. And you will see the opportunities that we offer on campus every day. From the family atmosphere where students are treated with respect, through our high-level academics, which offers 27 advanced placement courses and 110 dual university credit courses, our students will be challenged in the classroom. But it's not all work with no play. You will see our extracurricular activities, which include 19 varsity sports and over 40 other clubs and activities, are also there to keep our students busy, learning, and growing every day. We also feel that even though our students are studying so far from home, it's very important to stay connected with our parents. How do we do that? Well, the biggest thing is through our online student management systems. We use a program called Canvas, which is where our students will turn in their daily coursework, do their tests and assignments. But parents also have a login for this. That means they can see exactly what their son is doing each day, and if they have any questions, they have direct communication with the teachers. Each semester, we also host online parent-teacher conferences, so you can Zoom in and talk with each of your son's teachers. And then our college counseling and guidance counseling department is there to really make sure our students are choosing the best schedules, taking part in the correct community service and volunteer work opportunities, and really building their college resume so when they are ready to apply to university, they will be ready. Yes. So the application process is quite simple. You go through our online application, you submit a few years of transcripts and records. We have a short one-on-one meeting between me and each student, and then we do an admissions review. Once that happens, if your son is offered acceptance and you enroll, that does require an enrollment deposit. But we understand that visa issues can also cause concern. I've been working with students and student visas for many years, and I'm happy to share many tips and tricks, as well as host mock interviews prior to the interview date. However, in the case that there is a visa denial on more than one occasion, we are happy to refund your entire enrollment deposit. It is not something we are looking to keep. We want our families to be happy and confident that Chaminade is a great place. And hopefully, even if there is a visa denial, you'll be able to try again in the future, and we will go through the process again. Yes, so we do work with Scovers Education, and we have been for the last few years. I have truly enjoyed my visits to Nigeria and working with their team. They help us to reach out to students and families, set up school visits, and they have a wonderful relationship with the embassies there in Nigeria as well. I would be very happy to continue my work with them, and I put my full trust in the Scovers team to answer any questions you may have about Chaminade, our programs, and our application process. Thank you very much.
All right, that was Mark Parkinson from the Chaminade High School talking about the enrollment process. He talks about visa denial, just like what Victor was saying earlier, but what he's saying there now, if your visa is denied in the process of trying to enroll, you definitely be refunded. But for Nigerians now that want to enroll into the program now, how do we contact you? What is the process like?
Okay, so we have made contact details available. So usually when we reach out to us, we're going to put you through the entire process of application. It's usually a very straightforward process. It is harder when you're applying through the regular processes, like I said. So this is pretty straightforward. And although we cannot give 100% assurance of the visa process because we're not the consulars, we can give a very...
He mentioned it.
Yes, we can give you a very high assurance that with our visa training boot camp, the chances are very high. So usually when we pass people through the visa training boot camp, their chances of getting the visa increases significantly, and we have seen results over the years. So that's what we can do the application process, get you the visa process. Because the good thing about this program structure is when you get into Chaminade, you don't finish and then begin to try to do another application process. It's usually a very straightforward process. In the Chaminade Preparatory School, the application into the university is naturally done by the appointed people in the college. Yeah, so they will do the application to the universities, and most of the times, A-list schools like Harvard and the rest, they come to scouts, literally. So you don't have to write a special exam to be taken into Harvard, to be taken into MIT. Like I said, MIT's acceptance rate is about 4%, which means if 100 people apply, they will only take 4. So 96 people will not be taken because of colleges like Chaminade. They can easily just come and pick people, and then they automatically become students.
So for those who are watching and want to be part of this program, are there days or venues that you set aside for such things?
Yeah, they can always come to our facility. Our office is Suite 13A, Abraham Plaza at Utako. So we are always open Monday to Friday, I think from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Our office is open. They can always reach out to us. We have our email, scoversupi@gmail.com. So any of the channels to reach out to us, they can utilize it, and if they want to come in person, they can also come in person. So like I said in our conversation last week, the program is quite pricey, but it guarantees an easier pathway to get to the university.
Most persons are waiting to hear that part because I know how exorbitant it is planning to study abroad. So how affordable it is for Nigerians?
Chaminade is not exactly, I won't use the word affordable, but I'll use the word advantageous. Yeah, so because it's almost about 50,000 United States dollars, by the way. So yeah, that automatically rules out a particular set of people. That does not entirely mean that we don't have packages for other categories of people. Yeah, so if anybody in any financial category can just easily reach out to us, tell us what their specific financial issue is, and then we can find a system around it. But for Chaminade, it is specifically for those who are financially buoyant, and then they want their kids to have easy access to the US and a easier route which has less risk of visa denial. That's basically what Chaminade is. So if a person wants to go to an A-list university and you don't want a lot of visa restrictions, you can utilize this pathway.
In other words, you are open, your office is open, you don't have a time frame for the enrollment into Chaminade High School for now?
Right now we're targeting fall semester, and the reason why we're targeting fall semester is, of course, because of all the visa restrictions, which means nobody can plan to go in February, because the whole visa restriction means there's going to be a lot of constraints. So we're going to be targeting July, August. Yeah, so anybody who wants to go then, the earlier they start the application, the better. So that you want to go in July, August does not mean you would come in maybe June. Yeah, you can start the application from now, and then we take it slowly to ensure that everything necessary is done.
So as we wrap up, let me just give you the privilege of announcing your contact on there for those who may want to call you immediately after the program for them to reach you. Just give us your contact.
So our primary contact is scoversupi@gmail.com. So Scovers, SCOVERS@gmail.com. So they can easily reach out to us on our email address, and then we'll have all communications there. Our contact address, our phone numbers, WhatsApp address, everything is on our email address. So that's about it.
All right. Thank you so much. I believe we'll be having you again maybe probably next week for more of this. Victor Ayodele Gabriel, the Client's Relationship Manager, Scovers Education. Thank you again for joining us on the program today.
Much, sir.
All right, we'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be looking at other issues from our Abuja Center.
ITV, certainly the best.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Bully, we're talking about. That's what I said. So when they bullied her,
Yeah.
if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them up and dragging on both sides, you cannot you cannot breathe. And these women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
All right, it's the program this morning on Night TV. Of course, we just had that brief commercial on studying abroad. But let's come back to our discussion for today. We are looking at the 2026 budget. Like I said earlier in the opening of this program, the term expenditure framework was passed, signed yesterday. Not really signed, but it was the Senate approved it yesterday. That as the to formally present the 2026 budget. The MTEF is just a prerequisite towards budget presentation. It gives a breakdown of what the budget will look like if finally it's been presented to the joint house of the National Assembly. We're expecting that to happen in any time soon, probably before the end of this week. It could be today, tomorrow, or Thursday, or Friday. But I have someone who will be looking at it and telling us more on what we should expect and what that document contains. Ben Agule, our regular social commentator and analyst, is joining me via phone. A very good morning to you, Mr. Ben.
Good morning.
All right, let's begin to, let me just cast your mind back to the 2025 budget. So much has been said about it, you know, a budget that runs under deficit. Much of the budgets that will be running for some time now is based on a deficit. Nigeria borrows to run the budget. I don't know, what's your assessment of Nigerian budget so far, especially the 2025 budget, before we now look at what should be expected in the next 2026 budget?
Well, obviously, if the capital budget had not been implemented up to 30% in December, I think that, for me, I will see that the 2025 budget, in my opinion, it's a failure. Because if you are in December and you have not done 30% of the capital, now the recurrent budget does not affect the masses. The recurrent budget does not promote any development. It's more of servicing debt and maybe paying
salaries.
So if the capital budget had not performed, I think that the budget has not performed. And if we're going into 2026, I think that we actually need the government to admit that the 2025 budget failed, take whatever it is that was there in the 2025 budget as capital and translate it to 2026 budget. Not that 2025 budget should continue to run in 2026. Carve out those projects, adjust the 2028 as has been delivered, let it be actual. At least when you do a building, there is what we call plan, there is what we call as built. So let's have the budget, 2025 budget, as spent. And then whatever was in 2025 budget, especially the capital note that was not done, should now become 2026 budget. Not that we are running 2 or 3 budgets within the same fiscal year. I think it creates room for confusion. It does not allow the masses to track anything, and it doesn't show that the government has respect for the citizenry. That's, I think, my opinion on budget actualization and budget implementation from 2024 to date.
Now, if you look at the proposed expenditure figure for this 2026 budget, is about 54.46 trillion naira. And there are other indices, key budget assumptions like oil production for 1.84 million barrels per day and oil benchmark of $60 per barrel. All this what the government is using to prepare the dollar. But if you go by our current economy, the inflation rate is put at 16.5, which projects to moderated by 13% in 2027. As the framework is between 2026 to 2028. Let's look at the economy itself. Has there been any improvement in terms of inflation? Because if you're putting inflation at 16.5%, does this really reflect what we should be expecting in 2026?
You see, in governance and in human sphere, learning must be a continuous thing. The worst enemy of learning in practical sense is experience. Now, we have a government loaded with people who think they have experience and who are really doing things right, not necessarily doing the right things. I don't know if you get that. They are doing things right. They are doing it for the record, but they are actually not doing the right thing. For instance, we are talking about MTEL. MTEL is supposed to have, by the MTEL Act, that's the Fiscal Responsibility Act 2007. MTEL should be with the National Assembly 4 months before the commencement of the budget, before presentation of budget. But in this case, it's been presented maybe on the 13th, and in less than a week, the National Assembly is saying we are done with it and it's approved. Now, for me, that is just doing things for the record. The right thing would have been that I and you and anybody in the public who is interested in seeing the MTEP should have had access to see what it contains and not piecemeal information from the National Assembly. But because we have people who are experienced, we know how to do it, so we don't need your input. I think that's exactly the way this has come on. And that's why in less than a week, the National Assembly will come to us. The MTEP has been approved. Because we will look at what were the assumptions subjected to. Because basically when you are maybe the MTEP is looking at what? You're looking at revenue assumptions, you're looking at the policy framework, at the expenditure. Now, when you put that together, if you interrogate the process, you are likely going to get better results and better input. It is not just sufficient that in the opinion of the executive, okay, let's reduce the benchmark for petrol from 64 to 60, and because of maybe prevailing whatever, but I think if it is subject to expert opinion, we might even need to reduce for that, or we may not need to reduce. But for you to arrive at some certain conclusion, there is always that need for robust engagement. But I think that the government of the day is really not engaging anybody. They tend to be working within their own space with their guard, strongly believe that whatever only the information you want the people, that's what they have. And I think that is not good enough.
So what's the implication? Because we don't have much time. We have to join our Lagos studio. But what implication of this delay submission of the MTEP by the executive to the national, you correctly mentioned, that would have been before. Now it was just brought on the 13th, and in less than a week that has been passed. So what's the implication to the Nigeria economy in terms of preparing the budget?
Well, the implication is that we will still have the budget as prepared by the executive without having appropriate input. You see, insanity is doing the same thing the same way and expecting a different result. I think we have run the 2024 budget and it didn't work for the people. We are on the 2025 right now, and it is not working for the people except we want to deceive ourselves. Now, if you go forward with that into 2026, it will still not for the people. Then, of course, for the total volume of budget, yes, 54.4 trillion seems to be large. But when you bring it back to dollars, it's possibly less than $40 billion. Now, some states in the U.S., like California, add as much as $80 billion for primary and secondary schools alone. They call it K-12 education budget. That's 25% of their budget. Now, so if what a state somewhere else is spending on education alone, we are looking at spending less than half of it in our own nation, where our economy is low, the infrastructures are not there, a lot of things are backward, security is challenged. I think that there is the need to do more engagement by the government. There is the need to ensure that you are actually not using the portfolio budgeting style, but that we actually deconstruct and build from the basics what we think we need to do at the people.
All right.
We get back to doing that. You just realize that pegging the exchange rate at 1,512 to $1, looking at 1.84 million barrels per day. Yes, they are good assumptions, but if you have subject them to more robust debate, maybe we would have something more that would be practicable and that will work for us. And we should begin to look at building revenue outside the oil sector.
Okay, I know that this discussion is, if you can hear me, Ben, this discussion is going to be ongoing until the president submits the budget and the budget is being passed. I sincerely appreciate you for joining us this very morning for this discussion, despite the time scheduled for it. Thank you, Ben Agunleye, social commentator and analyst. Thank you again for joining us on the program.
You're welcome.
All right. We'll take a quick break, and when we return, we'll be joining our Lagos studio for the continuation of the program this morning on Night TV.
Thank you very much for joining us on the program, Healthy Living. What is the kidney?
The kidney is an excretory organ in the body, which is for metabolism.
Tuberculosis affects many organs in the body, but the common ones.
Many thanks for staying with us. Hello. The continuation on CM. This on ITV. I am Resolina Onkwo. And this beautiful morning, our guest is Dr. Victor Ohai. He is a UN humanitarian ambassador. Hello.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
And thank you so much for coming.
Pleasure.
Merry Christmas to you in advance.
I'll say same to you and to all
our viewers
out there, yes.
Yeah. All right, this morning our topic from Lagos is Tinubu vows to sustain Buhari's legacy, continuity or political symbolism. That is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has pledged to sustain the legacy of the former late President Muhammadu Buhari, describing him as a leader of discipline, integrity, and quiet strength. But the tributes and symbolism. He made the statement on Monday, 15 December 2025 in Abuja during the public, during the edition of biography on the former President Buhari. You know, the event brought together top government officials, APC leaders, diplomats, and political stakeholders. Nigeria are asking critical question. What exactly is this legacy, Dr. Victor Ohai? And are they feeling its impact today in this country? Is this about continuity, governance, or positioning of 2027 election?
I think it's basically what you're remembered for, the things you put in that can live after you. Whether for good or for bad, we are remembered for something. I recall that during the elections, Tinubu said we'll continue with Buhari's lead. I think the legacy here, to interpret it properly, what is actually saying, not said, where he bought, they wish to say, look, don't put Buhari, these are 11 million supporters. I will say, I'll continue so that I am, against you. But in reality, what is being said is different from what's happening. Is Tinubu trained our legacy? What are Buhari's legacies? Well, some you might say of nepotism, because you find was there, he said it put only those he could work with, and so he just carried his friend, his entire government. Of course, Tinubu is carrying that out right now. You know, when you see people like I'm not mentioning the ambassadorial, they want to have, is it settlement or is it pure? We do not take away the fact that someone clarified to be, but like someone will, are there not people from other parts of the country? You find that all the key positions are coming from a particular part of the country. One day you ask yourself, what? That Buhari's legacy. That was who he was. You can see that being perpetrated or perpetuated. So he's truly continuing with that legacy of Buhari. So we can say that, and so that is one. Then the other one is right the issue of. But if you look again, he has surrounded, from what we are seeing right now, surrounded. He couldn't control the people that were working under him. There was looting, massive looting.
He could not control them.
He couldn't. Well, you at the lunch of hear saying what everyone is saying. But to let you know, look at the Ngige, Malami, Buratai, other people right now that have been for looting massively, allegedly. They are going to go on trial. So the truth. So all that was going on under him. Is I hope not. But as you can see, they are being tried now on that Tinubu's administration. Malami has said, Ngige has said, and a few others. Yeah. So what you see now is a situation, you know, there's a departure. But what I think the president, in making a statement like that, is doing is saying, I'm not rocking the boat, guys, to make them happy. So that statement is for me, for political expediency, to make this say, I'll continue with this. So that voters and supporters, who I had, by the way, till tomorrow, supporters of his will feel, oh, we're together.
So you feel a president made that statement because of the 2027 election? I mean, so he could have Buhari voters.
No, it's obvious. The reason being, there's no legacy that is there to emulate or to want to follow. Nothing. Nothing. Except the one for nepotism, which is exactly set, which the current administration, the president is also. But otherwise, what kind of legacy has he left? Did he leave? The legacy of corrupt people working under him? Is that the kind of legacy? This government had a clear departure. You can see that they clearly departed from, you know, the path the government was, Buhari administration was taking. So, but that statement clearly is obvious. He needs that CPC block of APC, those die-hard Buhari supporters in the north. If you say one thing against Buhari, those just turn their back against. They will turn their back against him if you say anything against them.
So you do not mean the current administration are sustaining they've defined the actually means.
They have not defined. It's not clear because if you want to continue with the legacy, then tell us what legacy. Legacy, you know, we can talk about the legacy of discipline. We can talk about a legacy of frugality or fiscal discipline. We can talk about a legacy of development. We can talk about a legacy of education and all that. What legacy?
You know, you described him as a leader of this integrity and strength. I mean, that is the legacy he's talking about.
That is a perceived personal, if you like, character. He's perceived to be a disciplined man. He's perceived to be a man of, you know, who is not known to be, how do I put it now, to live a flamboyant life, all that. But is it really true? We need to ask ourselves this question. Children, if you look at the children, they are not living the way he's living. The man says, okay, small house in Arab, but I mean, okay, let's say that is him as a person.
Okay.
But that legacy, that is, I can be a disciplined man. But what legacy am I living in terms of the things that I have done can be emulated for the next generation? I'm saying, if you are disciplined or control over the people, is that something to be emulated? Nothing like that, you know. Then secondly, like I said, you know, when he was in government, what did he do? What can you really point to and say this is what During the first administration, the first time he came with what was his name? Idi-Agbon, he knew that the person who was really in control was Idi-Agbon, even though he was number 2. When they talk about war against indiscipline, that the discipline in Nigeria generally, it was about Idi-Agbon. People feared Idi-Agbon, not him. He was at the head, yes. It seemed like it was him. He came by, couldn't replicate it, obviously. But I promise you that if it was Idi-Agbon that had come back, Nigerians would sit up. You dare not. That was who Idi-Agbon. That was the legacy.
Okay, let's talk about in terms of security and Nigeria today. Would you say the legacy is being sustained or redefined?
For security, it was a general, but we didn't see any serious changes. Because the promise was when it was called to, within 6 months, banditry, Boko Haram, terrorism, and the rest would be fully curtailed. What's happened? Obviously. You know, so in the area of security, at the point in time, things went down, but that was also because he could speak to his kith and kin, the Fulani men. He was Fulani, okay? So it could be a place where, and it was alleged that he was any form of attack Fulani who were his people. I can understand. For me, it is just say for the sake of Fulani, I'll say okay, and I'm Fulani, I'll say don't kill my people. However, if they are bandits, if they are criminals, if they are terrorists, they're not toyed with. And yet we treated them with kid, you know. We had opportunity under him. And we did not. You asked about other areas. What was there again?
I mean, security in Nigeria currently.
One thing you have to, I don't know how to give it to him or whatever, or what he didn't have the courage to do it was the issue of removing subsidy. In his time, somehow you will have to agree. The economy was certainly better than it is now.
Exactly.
There's no two ways about it. It may be argued that, okay, he didn't have the courage to remove. He was one that removed it. Just that the implementation was office. He said, there's budget. He said, subsidy will be removed first of. Remember, May 29 was handover, and so the subsidy for that. So all would implement what the government had already done. So it was one that, you know, removed the subsidy. He understood also, you know, you have to balance the consequence. You know, he removed it, it could create a bit of imbalance, as we saw. Okay. You know, it just wanted things to be not even today that subsidy is like Nigerians. The money during about time when there was increase in fuel price, we saw what the money was used for. At the time, and in other regimes, Petroleum Trust Fund, we saw hospitals with money that from marginal increase in fuel price. We saw buildings that are standing till tomorrow that the money was used for. Now that subsidy has been removed, what can we say it has been channeled to?
That's the same question Nigerians are asking.
Yes, what can we say it has been to? We can't really. The states have more allocation right now. They have more money. What this is being diverted into other things. This is a situation where one civil servant or public servant, as the case may be, is sending his children to squeeze for $5 million, spending about $5 million, which is almost 7.5 billion naira. And in an earlier program, remember, I had analyzed what 1 billion is. At the rate 54,000 naira per day, you wake up every day, you wake up, okay, it's going to last you for 50 years and about 9 months. That's what one is. And one man is giving that to the Swiss economy for secondary education for 4 children. That is madness. You had the same case with Yaya, who paid loan in advance for his 2 fees. In one, is it British American school or British Nigerian American Nigerian school? I can't remember. Although in Nigeria here, what are they doing? They loot this money. They will not use it to train, to build facilities. Do you know what that amount means? So these civil servants want to find a situation where they looted, money that he wants to do that. And that's what you see. So the money now that is being saved from subsidy that is being given to state governments, many of these state governors, what they do instead is divert this money, take it outside the country, use this money to train their children, and use this money to they just put it in. Some of them, some of them are right, some governors that we know, living in Italy and some other countries right now, where they're taking state money and then they're going and they're doing, they're just in and free trade in our such places. It's sad. So we cannot even see the benefit of this from.
All right, let's talk about Tinubu's own economic reforms. Yes. Can legacy continuity coexist with its own?
Well, it comes about whether or not they believe in what he's doing. A few things will stay. One, for instance, if in January, once the new tax regime comes in, there's no that will come and if that's what they will say, they will block it. They don't like administration, you will not say in your mouth and spit it out. So sustain it for sure. Okay? And there are a few then I don't government coming back. I want to go back to the regime of fuel for sure. Then regulated. I don't know that regime will want to say that the Naira should not be. I don't know. I can't say. So there are a few things you look at. It's okay. These are legacy projects that are beneficial to an nation, not necessarily to the people as such, but it helps an administration. It helps an administration, in its developmental strides. So things like that can be sustained. Maybe not all of it, because administration comes and they have the area of focus. On that administration, I would say it's not really much you can point. Okay, even though like I think we both agree not, but some may argue one way or another that the statement will continue with Buhari's legacy is just political speak, just because you don't want to rock the boat. But for this, of course, there are things that you can say, okay, yes, whoever is coming will take, embrace, and continue with, for sure.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Vic. Okay, thank you for that analysis. Nigeria at this point is drifting towards a one-party and under the banner of continuity.
I've listened to people like Felix Mock, the spokesperson for APC, and for him, it doesn't matter. Let everybody come. I've heard Akpabio speak, and they even promised that governors are going to come. And you can see it happening. A one-party state is not very healthy for any country at all. There's a reason why you have opposition. Opposition creates checks and balances. Now the state, with the executive, the judicial, and every other government is held captive. And there are some executive. So which means now that No one questions the executive anymore. Whatever the president says is law, is final.
And it's not supposed to be like...
It's not supposed to be that. You should be able to say, okay, look, interrogate and say, look, excuse me, but this, you look at it, but right now, even those who are in their voice is in the minority, because at the end, the eyes will always have it. The names may have their say, but the eyes will always. And because of that, that's what happens. There's nothing that you can say. Once now that will prevail. Nothing. So the problem that we're faced with right now. So the one, we're obviously heading to all those words. It's like a situation right now. PP has been solved. Even though some argue that that is not the case. Aid thought to be a strong force. Since we're coming from that end at all, Labour is just by name. Even the lead candidate there is no longer there anymore. That's Peter Obi. That you would say, okay, he was leading the strength. So wherein is the without opposition, Nigeria is doomed. You can tell along. What do you call it now? What do you call it? Third term. Become
a lot of different.
And I begin to wonder, what is it that this administration? Is it blackmail? Are they blackmailing? In the same, maybe they are using security forces to, if you have studied the court, they show you your dues there. They say, okay, you better to enjoy not. And what my APC man, they said, come to APC that you was given. So if you come to APC, then your sins are forgiven. And we have many who have looted, who come in, and then no one is talking. So is that healthy for us? I say, people say no. It's not even good for the country. It's not even good for the party. Because when everybody together now under that party, okay, you say to yourself, who leave, believe me, the infinite place will worse than what happened in PDP. Because they're all there. They're not birds of the same feather. It's not that that is bringing them together. What is binding them together is just salvation.
Because of persons have with the questions lately, saying defecting from their party to the APC, especially to A, that it seems that the coming is starting to look like a war system. And I mean, it's not for the and it's not good for politics and for the forthcoming 2027 election. That will be the president needs to like come out and not because a lot of presidents leads now that would be seeing a couple of that the president stand a chance for forthcoming 2027 election.
It does appear so. However, it will vote. Like I said, the state capture. So there's no anymore with people like the former INEC being rewarded with their position. Those who are right now may want to toe the same line so that they will leave office. So I don't see it does appear like an easy ride for him because the judiciary were no longer off. Those who were in the opposition are now within the party. Okay? So the other parties that could have present a formidable opposition or have been weakened. Right down the grass, all people have come join the APC. So who is going to, so it looks like an easy ride for him. But at the end of the day, God, the people will decide.
Okay, let's talk about a book that was launched a few days ago. they said a lot of things you need to see, how the president talked about us, protests, and like a lot since in that book, and a lot of speculations. I mean, people, I'm thinking that much earlier on social media, TMI social. You know, a lot of persons were that, well, how come we're just getting to find out things now? Buhari is dead. I mean, that he's dead. You know, you're saying we should get to see how it there. There are a lot of things you need to check in that book, and a lot of persons were just it's strategy and all of that. What would you have to say?
There's so many more to reveal than many people.
Exactly.
What was in office? Not to speak against him as we're doing. Those who will come and attack you, oppose you, but many of them are now talking, including his. And she talked about how held him. Was saying that she wants to kill him, and because of that, he was holding himself in.
Yeah,
yes. It's so many things are coming out. No matter how much you keep yourself in government, you will control. One day you say that or dead, and the truth will come. That is what we're seeing right now. The book reveals a lot. There'll be so many more revelations that will come out, because it's come out. Some people will come out to defend themselves, some will come and deny, some will come and reaffirm what is there. We will know more about the man.
To expose a whole lot of things.
It will act as a catalyst for exposure of so many more that we suspected all along, but will now be confirmed.
Oh, Victor, at this point, do you think legacy should be an excuse for a policy like subsidy?
Whether legacy should be an excuse for well, every decision you take, them Babangida still will forgive you for taking failing, but he never forgive you for not decision. And one way or another, certain decisions are encouraged. Substance mover was one of such, and so it is whether we like it or not, although it was originally initiated by Buhari but not implemented, you would admit that it's one of the legacies for sure. Yes.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Victor, for helping us to this topic. Thank you so much. Like I said, persons agree with the president and Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Some persons agree to what? Why a whole lot of persons are not saying that you cannot be, talking about legacy while going through what we are going through in Nigeria. Thank you once again, Dr. Victor. Okay.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you, our beautiful Nigerians, for being in our Lagos this morning on CMI. I am Mercy. Do stay with us as we join our Benin Network studio for the content on CMI in advance.
The man went out to bring in thugs to come and beat her.
Yeah.
In a situation like that, do you think women would have seen that and still want to speak?
Really, we're talking
That's
about...
what I said.
So
when they bullied her, if she's not bold enough, she will shut up.
What is your advice for girls out there that are so desperate to be married?
We women, we have to be really intentional about our parenting.
If you know a child is being abused, or you see signs, a bruise or a child, it has to be investigated.
People barely even breathe when they are going for a shrebi and something.
Party.
You have to be
They
smart.
can't sit
If
down.
you see where they are dressing them or are dragging on both sides, you cannot breathe.
That's what
And
I
these
thought.
women will stay in those events for hours just to keep up with that beauty trend.
Is that healthy?
That's not healthy.
I am Patricia Uremu-Gabriels, and we're reaching you live from our Lagos Network studio. Of course, Women in Conversation is a program designed for women to discuss about themselves.
The new Idiom expressed excitement as they danced and rejoiced before the Esama of Benin, Sir Chief Dr. Gabriel Osawori Benedion, who also joined in the dance.
You're still watching ITV. This is the news updates at 9:30. My name is Evans Nokogi. The Governing Council, management staff and students of Edo State College of Education, Igwebe, have felicitated the chairman of the Governing Council, Honorable Ephraim Alewosele, on the auspicious occasion of his birthday. In a congratulatory message about the management of the Edo State College of Education, Igwebe, on behalf of the entire college community, it stated that Honorable Alewosele's exemplary leadership and unwavering commitments have been pivotal to the institution's remarkable growth and development. The statement noted that the visionary leadership and guidance of the amiable chairman of the Governing Council continue to steer the college towards greater heights of academic excellence and operational progress. It added that on this special occasion of his birthday anniversary, the entire college community expresses profound gratitude for his dedicated service, insightful counsel, and steadfast support. The statement further acknowledged that his impactful contributions have left an indelible mark on the fabric of the institution. The college also joined in prayers wishing him a birthday filled with joy, robust health, enduring wisdom, and many more years of purposeful life. And moving on now, unity and development have been identified as key values through which members of the Rotary Club of Nigeria express gratitude to God and celebrate themselves. This was evident as members of the Rotary Club of Nigeria Edo State chapter came together with their family members at a get-together party to herald the New Year celebrations. Wellington Akolija reports.
Celebrating life and serving humanity remains the core objective of the Rotary Club of Nigeria as the members of the Edo State chapter and their family members converged for the get-together party. Speaking at the event, District Governor Benin 9141 Percy Okoje said the gathering was an opportunity for Rotary members to celebrate themselves and also plan programs for the coming year.
Rotary has always done this at club level. So the idea is to foster unity amongst families, then also to propagate what Rotary stands for, togetherness.
Members of the Rotary Club of Nigeria Edo State chapter who attended the event with their families, including Igodalo Osayi, Rotarian Elizabeth Ativie, and Jeff Odiaye, expressed appreciation to members for the unity and love shared among them.
Once a year, we gather our families to come and celebrate, usually around December period, because we want to network, we want our wives, our husbands, and our children to know what we are doing.
It has been a busy year for Rotarians, so Rotary dedicates a particular time, December, a day in December, to allow Rotarians to felicitate with their families and families of other Rotarians.
Normally, we do it individually as clubs, but this is the first time that we are bringing all clubs together to do it together. And my family, yes, we are all here now. I happen to be the first coordinator in Benin City to handle this now.
The high point of the event was a series of fun-filled activities and competitions, including dancing. From Benin, Wellington, Akodeja, ITV News.
Nigerians have been advised to cultivate the habits of giving and positively impacting lives in order to put smiles on the faces of the downtrodden and less privileged in the society. The admonition was given by Pastor Louis Zoe Igbinadolo during activities marking his 40th birthday celebration held in Benin City, the Edo State capital. Patience Usaogiwa has the details.
It was a moment of joy and celebration as friends, family members, and well-wishers gathered to celebrate Pastor on the occasion of his 40th birthday. The event featured a variety of activities that added color and glamour to the ceremony. Pastor Igbinadolo and his amiable wife, who were visibly elated, expressed gratitude to God and appreciation to their guest.
Celebrating 40 is a uniqueness of grace. I will thank God for everything that the Lord has done.
One of the best things that have ever happened to me is meeting Pastor Louis. He's a loving man, caring, God-fearing, and all-in-one. Is just a perfect mate for me.
Some friends of the celebrants described him as a man of humility, respect, and integrity.
When you first come across this humility, so much respect and integrity, and a focused young man.
They are very wonderful people, and it has been wonderful being their family friend.
The couple also used the opportunity to renew their marital vows, an exercise officiated by Pastor Azeme Azena of Omega Fire Ministry as a symbol of their strong bond and enduring love.
I renew my marital vow to you.
In his exhortation, Pastor Azeme Azena admonished couples to continue to love one another and avoid negative influences, noting that such distractions could destroy marriages and breed conflict.
Marriage is all about trust. Both of them should love each other, especially now that the children are growing up.
The celebration also featured the launch of a book titled Destroying Mysterious Battles, authored by Pastor Louis Igbinadolo. The event climaxed with the cutting of the birthday cake and a colorful dance session as friends and well-wishers joined the celebrants in celebration. Patience Osaogiwa, ITV News.
The Edo State Police Command has declared one Edith Ebo missing. In a statement signed by the Police Public Relations Officer, Edo State Police Command, ASP Eno Okoedem, Edith Ebo of number 14 Okoro Road, Benin City, left home on the 18th of December 2025 to an unknown destination. All efforts to trace her proved abortive. The statement adds that Edith Ebo is 17 years old, light in complexion, about 5 feet tall, without tribal marks, speaks English and Benin languages fluently. The statement adds that anyone with useful information about the whereabouts of Edith Ebo should kindly contact the nearest police station. And moving on now, former Chief Justice of Nigeria, Justice Ibrahim Atanko Muhammad, retired, has passed away. The former head of the Nigerian judiciary died in Saudi Arabia, marking the end of a long and distinguished career in public service. Justice Muhammad reportedly died in the early hours of Tuesday at a hospital in Saudi Arabia, where he had been receiving medical attention. And with that, now in the news updates at 9:30. Thanking you for watching. Don't forget to join us at 12 o'clock for another update. My name is Evan Sunuhugi. Good morning.
As visiting and paying of homage to various homes of senior elders continued, the initiates spent 7 days performing diverse kinds of rites as required by tradition. They were furnished with rules and regulations regarding their new office as Edion.
That I grew up in this community to the point that they have now also chosen me as an elder in this community. It's a thing of great joy. All thanks to the Esama of Benin, my people, my family, everybody, all Okada community for this great honor. I am very, very grateful.
Well, this is my brother. I'll call him my uncle because he grew up with my father. I'm so proud of him because we are doing the same rituals as the Edions of the Okada. It is our duty for us to make this place a greater place, for outsiders to come and see the goodness of God in Okada. And I'm proud of every one of us here. So shall it be to each and every one of us in Jesus' name.
Okada Zima, Esama Zima, Bonazima, Obalazima, Manawe, Mario Sama, Jonena, Mimado Pomisama, Mimado Beken Sama, Emma Dio Warena, Esama, Magbeken, Osaba, Obuya Bitone, no get Tony Maga, not Yami Magame, Manido Beken, the Emma Yafe, Emma Ato, Emma Agmo, Aropai Wuduri, Emma Diawagene, all the Tiagoyano, Emi Magame, we need just to know me our fan.
In this summer, in our father's house, in respect of our initiation to elders Edion level. As tradition demands, we are here today to come and also pay our homage to him, for him to also pray for us, for long life and prosperity.
The climax after 7 days was paying of homage again to the Edion way, where he gave the initiates the full rights to function and to henceforth participate in meetings with Edion. It will go down in the history and minds of Okada community, Ovia people, Edo State, and Nigeria in general. The ambience, style, and the colorful ceremony associated with the 2025 initiation into the Edion Council of former Governor of Edo State, Chief Lucky Nosagari Igbenedion, his brothers Bright Ayamekwe Igbenedion, Honorable Charles Osenwige Igbenedion, Peter Osawari Igbenedion, Dr. Fred Osawuni Igbenedion, Barrister Mike Osawuni Igbenedion, Executive Director Operations, IT.
Yeah, to get to hear people's reaction about a particular, I am wrestling Christmas in advance. Okay, first story for today, we saw the late President Muhammadu Buhari's book video on the internet, where it says the book, you get information, questions to answer to questions like what instruction during protests, how was the civilian captured by the Kaaba, was there signature fraud, what killed Buhari in July 2025, a lot of information on that in that particular book, and it has got a lot of people talking on the internet saying, okay, it's that a lot of persons are going to post things as a good code, and it is definitely going to affect a lot of persons. But this video on the internet got a lot of people talking. And before we go to the reaction, take a look at the video.
Wrong with Buhari when he was sick in the 2017-2018 years? The answer is in the book. What were the intrigues behind the site of Lawal Dara DSS box? The answer is in the book. What role, or what was the role of the cabal in shaping the Buhari presidency? Why did they fight his family and state?
Interesting. There's a lot of book that you need to. Okay, let's take a look at people's reaction about that. This person says, see market strategy. So because of all those things now, I should buy or read the book. Why didn't he make press statements when he was alive? That is address it. Okay, let's look at another reaction. Femi B says, this book might end some people's political career. Great timing. Interesting. Take a look at another reaction. This book is to ignite major debate. History is being written, but eager to see how Lamed frames this controversial moment. Okay, let's take a look at another reaction. Jesus says alive during the end. He had all the time in the world to have addressed the situation with the answers and whatever happened in CBN. Why did we have to know thoughts about all this in a book after his dismiss? Let's take another reaction. At least, I hope obedience and those who criticize Baba Buhari the time to read this and clear their minds. Especially those who condemn him harshly after his passing. Interesting. Let's take a look at another comment. This says, for the fact that the administration is celebrating same man that put us where we are currently today, shame and disgusting. Okay, he's actually the one that put us where we are today. I don't know. Okay, that is for that. Let's take a look at another story. We've been seeing the allegation by Dangote made for Farouk, saying that, you know, why would they be spending that kind of money, you know, taking care for his children's school fees abroad, and that is a whole lot. I mean, he's a civil servant. How would you have that kind of money to spend for your children's school fees? And we saw also this morning, yesterday, that Farouk came up this own that has been circulating in responding to that claim, clarifying it not to come from his directly. And also he has accepted or he has publicly offered himself by all relevant anti-graft agencies. Okay, we saw Aliko Dangote, the chairman of Dangote Group, has filed a formal petition with the Independent Corruption Relative Offences Commission, ICPC, against Ahmed Farouk, director of the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority, alleging corruption and financial conduct. Submitting on December 16 through his lawyer, SAN. The petition requires the arrest, investigation, and prosecution of Farouk for allegedly living beyond his means as legal official. The petition was received by ICP Dr. Musa Adamu Alil. Dangote claims Farouk spent over $7 million on the education of his 4 children in Switzerland over 6 years without lawful income to justify the expenditure. He provided the names of the children's school and the amounts paid to support his allegations. The petition accuses Farouk of diverting public funds for personal gain, contributing to recent public outcry and protests. According to Farouk's total earning in the public sector cannot account for $1 million allegedly used for his children's education. The petition cited sections of the ICPC Act, noting that abuse of office, embezzlement, corrupt enrichment are punishable by up to 5 years imprisonment, option of fine. Interest. Dangote emphasized that the ICPC is well positioned to execute financial crime and urged the mission to act decisively to obtain justice and protect the integrity of President Bola Tinubu's administration. He also pledged to provide evidence in support claim, and he don't actually provide evidence, you know, to support his claim. And Farouk, the statement has been circulated and also offered himself publicly for probe. Okay, this particular story has been trending all over the internet. Take a video before we go to the reaction.
And Nigerians, how he paid $5 of his students' education, and I don't think if anyone has paid that kind of for their own children. So we can't allow this to continue, because we must make sure that people don't come and destroy a country just because they want to make a living that is not genuine, not.
All right, let's take a look at the inspection on this particular. This person says, I will say this again. I have no reason to believe it. I remember that year in South Africa when I came across civil servants who traveled all the way from Nigeria to buy into furniture for his newly built house in Nigeria. Ordinary civil servants. So, interesting. Reaction. Nice one. How can someone pay $5 million for fees and we are so chilled about? Mind you, is not even a political. Imagine here on the radio, people coming for Dangote. Taxing season is also saying anything. Okay, let's react. Says for paying tax, you have whatever right to question the government about where your money is being spent. Let's take a look at another reaction. This allegation caught deep because it's a bigger problem in Nigeria. A country battling fuel scarcity and pressure cannot afford regulators living removed from the reality of the people they are meant to serve. Dangote's call for a probe is justified. The downstream zone needs credibility, not control. If officials are truly working national interests, should not problem at all. Interesting. Okay, this other person, Miami, if Dangote is missing details on the table, then this is beyond rumor. 5 billion while serving as a public regular. This is a serious threat that can't be off. Only forward to current investigation, clear of consequences. Dangote is not leaving this case anytime soon. Interested. Let's what's come up next. I mean, Dangote have every, he have a backup. If it's laying allegation on Farouk, he have evidence and he lay out as, and a lot of persons are angry. Are saying the civil servants in such amount on children's school fees in Algeria. Okay, this is all for you on CMI Socials this beautiful morning from our network. Thank you all for joining.
All right, thank you, Mercy. Now, Mercy, you acted as if you are the ICPC investigating the matter. I want to say kudos to you for such a wonderful investigative, social media work that you did. You went as far as, showing the money and, of course, the various amounts that is being paid for the student. And there's an ending note to that, as written by Aliko Dangote, that Nigerians deserve to know the sources of these sums of money. And, of course, a situation whereby some Nigerians cannot pay ordinary 10,000 naira as school fees. And there you have somebody paying millions of dollars as school fees for his children abroad. Well, the issues are still ongoing, and we do know that for us at Independent Radio and Television, we ensure that we give you the nitty-gritty of the developing stories as it unfolds. All right, so this is where we will draw the curtain today on the program this morning on ITV, and I want to say a very big thank you to my co-anchors, Mercy Lena, and of course Dominic in Abuja, for being on the program today, and also to the viewers out there. My name is Evan Sunukuge. Tomorrow the same program will return, still on this television, Independent Television. Goodbye and God bless you.
City.